Friends, listen. I just got finished listening to the recordings of yesterday's tape of the Callow Daybell trial. Honey, it was juicy. Okay, let me break it down for you. First of all, I understand that like all the technical, the witness, the what do you call it? The fingerprint evidence and the DNA, all of that is 100% necessary, right? And you got to lay the foundation and you got to do all the things and whatever. That's all fine. You know who I like hearing from? The friends and neighbors. The friends and neighbors make this entire case for me. The Melody Gibb of it all, the Zulimas, all of it. Yesterday, we got a couple of Chad's neighbors who were like this nice elderly LDS couple. And I was like, okay, a couple of cute little old people. This is going to be good. Was it good? Okay. These neighbors had all the tea. You know I love a nosy neighbor. And apparently when you live in a small town, you only got a few people to keep track of, so they keep deep track of one another. And because these people are largely the same religion, they go to the same churches. So not only I see my neighbors in the front yard or something. You put out the garbage. You're like, I don't touch garbage because ew. But I'm just like, hey, neighbor, as I'm riding my bike or going to the car or something like that. Oh, no. These neighbors, because they go to church together, they see each other down at the Piggly Wiggly, they all up in each other's business. And I was like, tell me everything. And these little neighbors, the Gilberts, brother and sister Gilbert. I grew up in a faith tradition where you called everybody brother and sister. Like brother, all the adults were referred to as like brother, your last name, sister, your last name. So brother and sister Gilbert, I didn't realize LDS folks did that too. But Sister Gilbert took the stand first. Listen, Sister Gilbert knew Tammy, knew the kids, knew her from church. And apparently this is one of these faith paths where like it's a little bit segregated, like the men with the men, the women with the women. Great. Because, women get together and they tell all their business. So first of all, Tammy was a school librarian. We knew that. Did you know that Tammy only made $10,000 a year? $10,000 a year? How were they living? It was my understanding that Tammy was the breadwinner of this family because Chad, even though he was the patriarch and in charge of all the stuff, he wasn't really making money like that. What were they doing on $10,000 a year? Also, Tammy had life insurance through her job. Okay, great. And after she had been there for a certain period of time, she could get 5 times her salary. Well, my thinking, and maybe I'm wrong, that if you have a job that gives you 5 times your salary after a certain period of time, A, you want to wait till you work there long enough to get the 5X. B, they were like, so she'll get 5 times her salary if she's here for a certain period of time. That would be $50,000. What? Is it super cheap to live in Rexburg, Idaho? Do you get just all the potatoes for free because you're already out there on a farm? Maybe they figure because you already have like goats and cows and chickens and whatever, that you can just kill whatever you have and you don't need money. How does this work? I do not understand. Was she poorly compensated? Was it because I have so many questions about her money. Her money is none of my business. And that was not even the most interesting thing that happened yesterday. It just got my attention. This lady was making $10,000 a year. That basically was a volunteer job. No shade to folks who make $10,000 a year. But to support yourself in your 40s and 50s, I don't understand how that works at all. Number 2, Chad and Lori, the description of them was Chad, how was it put? Oh, goodness. So she helped her 5th husband kill his first wife. What? That's kind of hilarious. First of all, I am 100% unwilling to be your 5th spouse. Just if I ever get single for whatever reason, I'm not going to be your 5th spouse. Now, if we are in our 80s and some of them died of natural causes, not most of them, but like maybe 1 of 2 of them died of natural causes, and you were not a person of interest, maybe I would be your 2nd wife if we old. I might even be your 3rd if you had one when you was. I'm not going to be your 5th wife. I'm not. And you can't be my 5th husband because to me, what that says, I'm not that good at marriage. By the time you get to 5 and 3 of them are dead, how was she even dateable? Oh, yeah, because according to him, she was hot and loaded. And clearly his potato behind, A, needed somebody hot because why would why would anybody be interested in him at all? How did he get a hot chick? You know she had to be crazy. That should have been the first time. That should have been the first sign to him that something was wrong. He'd look in the mirror in the morning like, good morning, my potato self. What shall I go out and do today? Will I try and get a job so my wife can make some more money? Oh, no. I'm going to go troll for hot chicks down at the temple. And if a woman has a fifth husband and she's real handy with murder, undateable. You can't do that. It's bad form, number one. Number two, also, because I have many points to make this morning. Tammy died. Everybody was sad. Chad wasn't that sad, according to the neighbors. And then a week after the funeral of his wife, he was like, oh, I'm in love. I have a new girlfriend. Sir, have you ever watched an episode of Dateline? These are classic signs of man who murdered his wife. Say you murdered your wife without saying you murdered your wife. Bring a date to her funeral. That is sign number one. Oh, yeah, everybody in town. He's like, these neighbors think I murdered my wife. Sir, you were giving all the signs of a man who murdered his wife. You brought a date, like what, the week after your wife died? Also, listen, here's tea. When he introduced Lori to the neighbors, because yes, he introduced Lori to the neighbors as the love of his life a week after his wife's funeral. The nerve. Listen, my husband, if something happened, if I get hit by a bus today, that man needs to sit for at least 2 years in black clothing with a sad face on. Thank you for the neighbors, please. Otherwise, listen, if I get hit by a bus or if I mysteriously die of a pulmonary embolism or whatever they call it, if you're my neighbor, I'm going to expect you to keep an eye on Mr. Gossip, Rumor, and Innuendo. And if another heifer shows up here in less than 2 years, I expect you to call Dateline and then the police and the FBI. But please call Dateline because it would be my final wish to be on a Dateline episode. Wouldn't that be awesome? Okay, but you got to get killed for that. Never mind. Scratch all that. Also, after he brought around the new young, hot wife who was clearly out of his league, except for she's a murderer, so that kind of put her on the same level as him, apparently he was avoiding his kids. This is news we had not heard, but according to the neighbors, he was avoiding the kids. And when he was introducing Lori around, they said, so have you been married before? And she's like, yes, I had a husband who died of a heart attack. Okay, you've had 4 husbands and most of them are now dead, but I guess that's not something you say in polite company. That I can fully understand. And they said, well, do you have children? This is what I heard, according to the neighbors. She said, I have lots of children, and then failed to elaborate. Okay. Then she said, my daughter recently passed away. That's a lot of death. So let me get this right. You're telling people, your daughter recently passed away. She was supposed to have all these futuristic visions. Clearly, she didn't see herself getting arrested and these neighbors getting called to the stand. Where was Jesus telling you things then, Lori? Didn't Jesus tell you this was going to happen? Because if he could show up to you in the temple and he could be your boyfriend and he could tell you about your past lives, he can't tell you what's going to happen 2 months down the line. That's what I need to know. I will wait for your answer, Miss Lori. I am patient. Anyway, while you marinate on that, so the kids go missing and they jet off to Hawaii. And then Lori gets arrested. So here comes Mr. Potato Head back to the neighborhood like, knock, knock, knock. Hey, brother and sister Gilbert, can I stay with y'all? What? Listen, maybe other people like house guests. I personally do not enjoy your house guests. Not at all. You can stay at my house for 3 days and then I'm going to need you to go. This fool asked these people if he could move into their house. He's just a neighbor and a dude you know from church. I don't know nobody that well. I do not. I got people that I've known for 20 years. They can't move into my house. If I didn't give birth, listen, if you used to live in my body or you reside there periodically as a husband sometimes does, then okay, you can stay here. But I ain't give birth to you. You want to move into can I just move? I know y'all got that guest room. Can I just move it to the guest room? No, you cannot. And you know what brother and sister Gilbert said? No, you cannot. P.S. By then, the Gilberts knew why Lori was arrested. So they were like, hey, didn't you say she had a daughter that passed away recently? Here go, Chad, because listen, the Gilberts ain't got nothing to hide. The Gilberts was like, we just was listening when you talk. And so now we're going to serve back to you what you served to us. Hey, Chad, whatever his potato name is. Chad, where's the kids? Wait. This is what prompted them to ask where the kids were. It wasn't just him saying, oh, can I come and live with you? Because I can't live in the house where Tammy died. It's too crowded in there. With what? The spirit haunting your behind? That's possibly what was in there. But he was like, hey, brother, sister Gilbert, thanks for the nice cup of tea that you made me. Look, I'm drinking water today, not coffee. I'm trying to lay off on coffee. I don't know how this day's going to go, but clearly I have enough energy to make it. Anyway. So, he's like, thanks for the nice cup of tea that you gave me. Listen, can I ask you a little favor? In addition to moving in, would you be willing to put your house up for bail, for a bond for my new wife? What? The nerve! The nerve. Where's that $50,000 you got from Tammy when she died? What about the other 55,000 life insurance policies? Oh, they hadn't paid yet? So let me understand this. Your, new wife has children that are missing. You told us her daughter recently died, and now you want us to put our house up for her that's going to be a no, sir. And if their cult was so big and there was so many people in it, how come he didn't ask one of his cult friends? He couldn't ask just one of the followers. The spirit didn't tell them, oh, give us money to put your house up. The nerve of this man. Oh my God. And so Sister Gilbert was like, listen, if you're going to come over here and ask me for money, then I have questions for you. And she is my personal hero. So Sister Gilbert was like, yeah, so we got some questions first. First, when we first met Lori, remember that time you brought her over 30 seconds after your wife was dead? She wasn't even cold yet, and you had your girlfriend up in my house, sitting here on my living room, putting a dent in my couch, drinking my nice hot cocoa. Listen, I got questions. So she was like, you told us that Lori had a daughter who recently passed away. What's going on with that? Chad was like, I never said that. She was like, yes, you did, because I wrote it here in my diary. I remember. I might be old, but I'm not stupid. Where are the children? Where are the children? Oh, I just channeled Nancy Grace. Anyway, so she was like, where's the kids? And he was like, that must, listen, I left my car running. I gotta go. Let me, I'm gonna be back. Okay, girl, I'm gonna see you later. Bye. So he left. And then after he was gone, you know, the Gilberts was giving all kinds of side eye. Like, I know this sorry sucker did not just roll up in my house and ask me to put my very own home up for his murderous girlfriend. What? So, then later in the day, he called them like, boop, 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 boop. Brother, sister Gilbert, hey, how you doing? Yeah. It was so good to see you today. It was so good to see you. Listen, remember we talked about, the bond? They were like, yeah. They was like, so I'm gonna have a bail bondsman call you and, so you can, work on the process of putting your house up. I got blood relatives that I would not ask that favor of. He is asking a neighbor, can you put your house up? Chad, I thought your new wife was hot and loaded. Her bank account was not blocked. She clearly, maybe she was hot to some people. The crazy make her less hot to me. But did y'all spend all your money at the Hawaiian vacation? Where is her loadedness now? Where's her load of money? How come she can't afford her bond? How come you asking random strangers to put their house up? How many other people have you asked to put their house up? And Chad, where are the children? That's what I would need to know. I would be like, no, she don't got to put her house up, because keep in mind, Lori was not arrested for murder initially. Lori was arrested for not turning over the kids. So if I was brother and sister Gilbert, I would be like, just tell them where the kids are. This ain't got nothing to do with me, my house, my credit score, my mortgage, nothing like that. What about your house, Chad? Why do I keep calling him Todd? Maybe that is the spirit speaking to me. Anyway, so him and his unmitigated gall called him on the phone, and they were like, dude, no. I mean, they're elders, so they didn't say, dude, no. But basically, they was like, nah, boo-boo, that's not going to happen. That's my translation of what they said. And then last but certainly not least, So Brother Gilbert is up on the stand and they asking him some questions. And then they were like, so you listen to the podcast? And he was like, oh yeah, I listened to 1 or 2 episodes of it, whatever. And they were like, okay, so how did you download the podcast? Where did you get the podcast from? Is this a quiz? Why are we asking our elders how to download a podcast? But he was like, it was just on the internet. I only listened to 1 or 2 episodes. It was uplifting and encouraging. Okay, so I think most groups, whether you're the Girl Scouts, your 12-step group, your church, whatever, everybody has like some uplifting, something to inspire you in a podcast. I think that's wonderful. So they were like, yeah, where'd you listen to the podcast? Oh, my wife got it off the internet. Great. We go listen to the podcast now. I was like, ooh, let me hear this crazy ass podcast. So, because I was very curious, very, very curious as to what this podcast was about. So they played 40 minutes of the podcast that they used to do. Listen. I do not know what this podcast is called. I don't know where it was. I don't know where it is now. I guarantee you it's out there on the interwebs somewhere. So if you want to listen to it, you can find it. And at first it was just like, hi, my name is so-and-so. I once was lost and now I'm found, right? Everybody had their I was having a terrible time and then Jesus came to me and now I'm doing all better story, right? That's standard fare across all Christian everything as far as I know. So I'm like, okay. This is pretty standard Christian stuff. And if you want to, you could be found like me too. Great. Standard proselytizing. Terrific. If that works for you, enjoy. Then it just started to go slightly off the rails because then they were like, so Jesus appeared to me personally. Record scratch. Okay. People have a personal relationship with Jesus. I was raised in the church. I understand how that works. I understand that that's what people feel. Great. It's like, so Jesus told me this and this and this. And then I was over at the temple and then the Lord told me to go talk to that person. And so I went and I talked to that person. And then Jesus told me that the end was coming soon and I have to do this and I have to do that. And then Jesus told me, Some of the stuff that they said Jesus told them, specifically Lori, but also Melanie Gibb and all these other folks on this podcast. Yeah. They've gone astray. I mean, I know you sensed they had gone astray from the murder of it all, but some of what they said, now listen, I do not understand how the temple works. Honestly, while I was listening to the podcast in the court, they were talking about when we were in the celestial room and then we were in the blah, blah, blah room. And I was like, Google celestial room. What is the celestial room? What does that do? What are you doing there? So then I fell down a rabbit hole and I started looking at, they had from some LDS something, celestial rooms from around the world. And then I was looking at Wikipedia. What do you do in the celestial room? Oh, it's an ordinance room. Well, what is an ordinance? Oh, I went down a whole rabbit hole. I think I might have converted. I'm not even sure. Am I LDS now? I looked at I've been inside the temple by way of the internet. Is all of this sacrilege? I don't know. I just have questions. But the temple's rooms were really pretty. Some were prettier than others. The ones that were dedicated more recently, gorgeous. White on white on white with splashes of blue. Apparently, it's supposed to be what heaven is like. And I know from Big Love that you wear all white. When you go to the temple, you have to have a temple recommend, which means somebody down at your local church has to ask you a bunch of nosy questions that are none of their business. And then if you answer correctly to all the questions, then you can go sit in heaven, aka the temple. I think it's supposed to mimic what heaven is supposed to be like. And everybody sits around in white and they speak in hushed tones. Is there music? I imagine soft music playing. This one temple was all white with these big blue stained glass windows. So pretty. I would want to go there for an afternoon and have high tea, not permanently, not spend the day, not have to deal with all them folks just floating around and talking to Jesus. That sounds annoying to me. But if that's your thing, enjoy. Now, one final thing, maybe not final, because child, I do go on and on. Some of the people in my comments down there were making disparaging marks about our LDS friends. Don't do that. Don't do that. They not making fun of your faith. Please don't make fun of theirs. Am I Mormon? Am I LDS? No. Does any of that speak to me? Not at all. But you know what? The same can be said for most religions. I am not Muslim. I do not identify as Christian. I identify as a heathen. Long time heathen. And that's what works for me. And That's good. And listen, my faith path, none of your business. The Mormon faith path, LDS friends, their faith path, that's none of your business either. So let's just show some kindness to our LDS friends. Because as far as I'm concerned, most religions kind of look like cults to me. Like, I'm sure they're not. Folks in them don't think they are, but they kind of look like cults to me. So let's just be kind to one another. Whatever your faith path is, what works for you, and have at it. And honestly, if I get to be in charge of heaven, which, let's face it, unlikely, you could come to mine, and then maybe I could go visit yours, and then I will go back to mine, and you will go back to yours. Doesn't that sound good? That sounds good to me. Anyway, friends, if you have not already, come to Jesus. No, I'm kidding. Listen to the testimony of Brother and Sister Gilbert in the recordings, the playback. It is wild. Chad avoided his friends. Tammy only made $10,000. They asked these good folks to put their house up. He should be convicted on that alone. That don't got nothing to do with Lori and her crazy and her murderous behind. But he should be convicted and sent to jail forever for the audacity of asking a random neighbor to put up at their house for bail for his murderous new wife/girlfriend. It's like, my fifth wife, my second wife, who has had 5 husbands before me. Oh, she taught me how to kill my first wife. Worked out real good for me. See, look, I got this hot, loaded wife. The whole thing is a mess. It's also messy. And I'm here for it. I am living for every moment of this trial. Now, the fact that 2 innocent children had to be murdered for us to be here, that is a tragedy. It's absolutely terrible. And yet, here we are. I do not think people should kill people. I know that's going to come as a shock to you, being that I'm a heathen. But even as heathens, we don't believe in murder. Okay. So I'm going to get on with my day. I'm going to finish my cup of water. Normally, I drink 32 ounces of coffee in the morning. Today, I'm struggling through 12 ounces of water. I'm going to have this, and then I'm going to have some half calf. I'm trying to lower my stress. I don't know how good this is going to work out. Being without caffeine might be stressing me out a little, but this is just day 1. I'll report back on how the caffeine fast is going, but it's not even a fast. I'm just reducing. This is what I am like sans caffeine. Lots of caffeine is probably not good. I think I might be naturally hyperactive. That never occurred to me until just now. Okay, listen, now I'm talking about nothing. Not like I was talking about that much before. All right, y'all have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.